Hello and welcome back to D100 Dudes. This is going to be the second part in our series where we're trying to install a Crown Victoria front suspension under this 1970 Dodge D100 two-wheel drive pickup that you see behind me here. So this is the first time I've ever done it. I see it done on the internet a lot. What I don't see is that it's fully documented anywhere. So that's the purpose of this video series. Try to fully document it, show you everything we go through, the trials, the mistakes, and I guess the good things that we make along the way as we do this conversion. So first series is out there already. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, you can go ahead and watch that. That one's pretty much just kind of chatter and showing you around the warehouse a little bit. This one we're getting down and dirty. We're going to take all the front suspension out from underneath the frame, and we're utilizing a 1968 frame that we have from another truck that we didn't have any plans for. So that's going to be our trial and error frame. We're going to learn as we go on that one, and then maybe do the install a little cleaner on my 70 when we get to it. So if you haven't subscribed to me already, please do so. I appreciate everybody that's done so far. By all means, leave some comments, and hopefully we can teach you a few things along the way or learn a few things. All right, so we got the cab off. As you can see, we got the motor and transmission removed. Still got a lot of work to do though, right? We're gonna take the front suspension completely out from underneath this thing. The straight axle, the shocks, the gearbox, everything is gonna come out. The motor mounts, we're gonna have to cut them out of there. All of that's gonna come out in preparation for the Crown Victoria front suspension to go underneath this thing. So again, we're gonna get into some of the marks. First, I got to get everything out of the way, get things cleaned up a little bit so that our marker will be able to show up on the frame rails where we're going to make our cuts. Okay, so I've got the frame moved over, got it on the lift, and was going to use the plasma cutter. However, my buddy that owns the shop, he's out of town for the weekend, and I am a rookie when it comes to a plasma cutter. The only time I've ever used it, he's been here, set it all up. All I had to do was burn off whatever I was working on. So doing it the old school way. Got a grinder, got a cutoff wheel, got some chisels, you know, trusty hammers of course, and some punches to drive out the rivets. So the motor mounts, they're held on by 6 rivets, and as you can see, I've got 5 off of this side here. So I grind them off with the grinding wheel, and then punch them out with the punch and the sledgehammer and whatnot. So one thing that was kind of interesting here, this lower one, whether or not you can see that in there right now, that one is off-centered, and I couldn't punch it out of there. So I was making a small amount of movement, but it wasn't moving much. So funny thing was, when I took out this top one, however, the bottom one actually shifted on me. So I don't know what had the torque underneath it, whether it was the motor mount itself or whether it was the frame rail that had that torque. Okay, I got the last couple off of there. Just wanted to show you real quick. Once I grind all of these down, as you can see there, it'll put a ring around there where it starts separating the rivet from the frame, just so you know where you can hit it with your punch. So just wanted to show that to you real quick before I pop these out, and hopefully this side will be done. I'll move over to the other side, and pretty soon we'll be making some cuts. All right, there we go. It is off of there. So it came off pretty easy. Once I cut the top 2 off, started punching it, just kind of fell right off. And as you can see, 3 of the rivets stayed with the motor mount. So again, been in place since 1970. Now she's out of there. All right. I am now on the passenger side of the truck, and was just going to give you guys just a quick sneak peek what that mount looks like before I did any of the work, since I already had part of the other one already done. So as you can see, it's riveted on all places. So again, just grind them off, hammer them out, and you'll be good to go. All right, we have success. We have both of the motor mounts removed. Took me, you know, roughly, I'd say about 5 minutes per rivet between grinding the head off of the thing and hammering it out of there, and, you know, cleaning up a little bit more with the grinder as I had to go along. So again, both of them out. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get a wire wheel on my drill, and I'm going to clean up the top of the frame rails, because this is where we're going to be making our marks for our cuts. So that's going to be my next step, and again, I'll come back once I get it cleaned up, and we'll start making our marks here pretty soon, guys. Okay, so I've got the top of the frame rails kind of cleaned up. I used a wire wheel on those, just on the end of my drill there. Got both sides cleaned up, and again, just enough to kind of make my marker show up on them. So, however, first mistake that I've made, and not really a mistake at this point, just examining the pictures from the other guy's blog that had done this, and obviously he removed this entire transmission cross member from his, because he's actually making a cut somewhere about back in here, just forward of the cab mounts. You know, again, this is kind of where the point is, where the frame starts widening out. So again, I've got 3 on top and 4 on bottom on each side, so I got 14 more rivets that I'm gonna have to cut out of there. So anyways, first mistake, learn as we go. All right, so real quick, I've got the frame over here, moved it off the lift, we flipped it over, and just have to really remove these rivets here, along with hopefully just 2 of these inside this rear shackle mount there. So I'm going to cut the edge off of this thing, hopefully, so I can get to those and get all those ground off, and that should be the end of our removals. Okay, we're getting there, but I did have a little bit of difficulty getting these brackets off. I've gotten the driver's side off, which again the frame's flipped over, so what we wound up having to do, and I'll show you over here on the passenger side. So I just cut the front edge of this bracket off, and again I ground these 2 rivets off, as well as these 2 right here. These 2 pop through the frame no problem, but this one, because it's, I'm assuming because it's doubled up, we've got this plate plus this plate underneath it, those things just wouldn't hammer out of there. So I wound up having to grind all 4 of these heads off, and once I did that, then I was able to get a chisel in between just to break the seal, if you will, of the rivet to the sheet metal. That loosened it up, and I was able to put a pry bar underneath there, pry that off, and the whole thing just literally fell out of there. So anyway, a little more work than I had anticipated, but if you got torches or a plasma cutter, which again I've got, but I don't have the technology to use that. So, but if you have those tools, it's going to be much quicker if you have the power of heat. All right, guys, we have success. Got everything off of the frame that we're going to be needing to remove, hopefully, for this Crown Vic swap. So the only thing I've got left really to do is the front shackle mounts. I've got the nut off the inside there already, but never removed those. So if anybody's got any pointers, by all means, go ahead and comment on here. Give me a pointer as to what to do with these things, because again, you know, it's a bear. It's been in there forever, so I don't know what the trick is to get the outer side off. The inner side wasn't much of a problem, but this outer one is not wanting to budge on me. So anyways, I'm going to do a little bit of research on that, but again, that's going to kind of wrap up this segment, this series. I'm going to end this one with pretty much all the removal stuff, and the next one I'm going to start the 3rd video in this series, and that one is going to start with our marks and you know, eventually our cuts, and then working on squeezing the frame together. So for now, again, thanks for watching my videos. Thanks to everybody that's subscribed already. If you haven't done so, please do so, and by all means comment on the video, good, bad, or ugly. I'll take it all, it doesn't matter. But comment on my video, subscribe to me, you'll get notifications when I pop the next one up on the on YouTube for the next in this series. Thanks again, guys.